Welcome to the American Ethanol Tours Championship Show, live from Carbon Green Bioenergy, featuring the 2018 American Ethanol Late Model Tour Champion, Brandon Thurlby.
Checkered flag in the air, winner of YellowHose.com 40 is Brandon Thurlby.
And 2018 American Ethanol Modified Tour Champion, Jacob Poole.
Side by side off the fourth turn, watch him at the stripe. Jacob Poole picks up the win.
With hosts Rich France.
Eric Spangler in the 27, hanging on to that lead, but don't look now. Here comes the 87M of David Melke, the number 2 of Travis Demler.
And the voice of the American Ethanol Tours, Zach Heiser.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happening slot. A little Nick Kurtz liner there for you to keep the American Ethanol trend going as we come back from break. Zach Heiser, Rich France. Scott Menlen joins us now in the Carbon Green Bioenergy studio, or Carbon Green Bioenergy place.
Yeah, lobby. I think it's a reception area. I don't know. It's.
I tell you what, Motor City Racing Promotions is your baby, and you were brought on this year to take over the American Ethanol Tours. What an interesting 2018, I think, would be the word I would use.
It has been, but certainly a lot of positives. I think it's been a real successful year for everybody involved, really, and not to forget that we've been involved with the tour for the late model tour. This is year 4, and Modified's year 2. So we've been here most every step of the way, but a little more prominent role this year than the previous seasons.
I guess the one question that I kind of want to know, yes, you were involved for the first 3 years. Now in year 4, you get handed the entire tour in April. How difficult was that for you and your team to get ready?
It was a challenge, that's for sure. We were certainly capable of doing it, and I think we showed that. And we've got a really good team, and this certainly, it takes a big crew of people and a big team and a lot of work behind the scenes to be able to do this. And we do races. I don't want to say year round, but we do a lot of races all summer long. So we were prepared for it. If there was a racetrack or a tour that needed us to step in next week to handle an event, I'm confident that our team could take care of that.
As you got ready for 2018, you're looking at a schedule that is trying to expand, right? You've got 2 tours that are trying to grow in the state of Michigan. And I think, too, the really interesting thing is, let's talk about modifieds. You're trying to run a tour right now with a sanction that is struggling in the state. Talk about how that has been has it been a challenge?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it has or it hasn't been. A lot of people, say that it is, and I think have a negative view on UMP modified racing in this area. But look at our car count and our results this year versus where we were last year. We're up. We're bringing 3 more cars to the racetrack on average. We've seen 107 different cars this season. We've seen 99 last season, so 107, and that's just in 10 races. We had a really small schedule this year, which we're excited to change for next year and add some races to that. I really don't think it's, depending on what racetrack you are. I think, each racetrack is different. But for us as a tour, I feel pretty good about the modified tour next year.
Cool.
Now, we don't get a chance to sit down with you, Zach and I, very often. I think we did once earlier this summer at a pavement track. We had a special, and we got it. And you swore you'd never come back. But,
and look at what I mean.
Everything that you go through now, a little different than just bringing MCRP to the racetrack. Now you're the tour director. A lot more on that plate. Are you having fun yet?
Yeah, it is. This is what I do. This is what most of us do on the team. This is it. Year round is racing, and so we've been very involved with the tours in the past. So it was a great opportunity, and it certainly had its challenges, but. I think we've worked through those. It took a lot of adjustments on our part and other people's parts and racetrack parts, and together, we were able to work through that, and it was enjoyable working through that and making all of us better, making the tours better, and continuing to grow. And that's the big thing here. And I think that we did grow quite a bit this year. Again, each year we just continue to do that.
And I think anybody who has worked around you or for you knows your attention to detail. How you are, but you don't do this because you don't do this just for a job. We all do this because we love racing and we've been around it for years. And if you weren't 100% committed to the tours and Motor City Racing Promotions, I'm sure somebody needs a real good starter somewhere, right? You really have to commit to this or it's not going to work.
Yeah, and it is. It's every day, and season over, so go take a break, right? Totally not the case at all. In fact, we were just gone for 4 days. I mean, we came right from Springport Speedway, a pavement track here in Michigan, over here for this program tonight. So, but in that time, even though we had that event at Springport, I mean, all week we were working on tour stuff. We've got big plans already in the works for next year, which that started a long time ago. But it's really picking up now. So it doesn't stop. It's
half a dozen new tracks, give or take, for the late model tour going into 2018. That in itself, that statement right there, is exciting for the tour.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see some more new tracks next year. I mean, there is a lot of interest, and so the expansion was great. Our Michigan base probably wasn't as high as I think a lot of people would like to see it. I mean, the roots are in Michigan, Carbon Green Bioenergy, yellowhose.com. It's so Michigan is very important to the tour, and that's going to be one of our goals when it comes to scheduling for 2019. Is maintaining that Michigan base. I mean, I think the out-of-state races are key to the tour, key to the program. We've got a lot of great teams that like to be able to go to different racetracks and compete with different people, which I think is healthy for not only the racers and the race teams, but the fan base as well for when we do come back to Michigan. And so it's. I think next year we're going to see, similar to this year, a mix of out-of-state and in-state races. But even though we talk a lot about traveling, we know how important it is to maintain that Michigan base still.
Talk about, speaking of traveling, the first ever co-sanctioned event for the American Ethanol Late Model Tour, DiscountShopTowels.com Dirt Kings Tour at Wilmot, Wisconsin. The amount of prep and pre-work that had to go into that to take two tours. Okay, yeah, they're both late models, but completely different as far as rules, as far as drivers, as far as race protocol. There was a lot of melding that had to go together.
Yeah, that was a lot of work, and I mean that's something that started way back in the off season, and and it's interesting because Wisconsin, the state of dirt racing in Wisconsin, I think is different than what it is here. Here, late models, and I think for most tracks in Michigan, it's all about late models. In Wisconsin, not necessarily the case, and so they've got a lot of different things going on, and their tour allowed UMP cars and old Wasota cars and all sorts of different things. So we had to do some things with the rules, which wasn't favorable to everybody on either end. Sure. And the teams had to make some sacrifices and do some changes, and so did we as officials, and so did they as their tour. So it was a compromise all the way around, and we appreciate all the support that we got from our teams, because there was a good amount of teams that made the trip over there.
Oh, yeah.
Combined with their teams over there, what did we end up with? 40 cars, I believe, for that event.
That's right.
So it was a good event.
And the other thing too that does, you talk about you want to stay Michigan based, but you want to see this tour do well and succeed and grow. And I think the way you do that is you get some key drivers in to race with the tour. And, throughout the summer, we saw some drivers that travel on a national basis come race with the tour and say, wow, you guys really have something going here that's going to be really good.
Yeah, we did in 135 different cars to be exact this year, which is also up from last year at 109. I think it's good for everybody. Again, fans, other racers. So we were fortunate to have those guys come in, and I think we all learned from their experience, and it makes for some good racing. And it was interesting. It was really interesting to see our tour guys over there on when we went on what we would call the West Trip, right? The West Coast
that's
trip.
What I called it. I guess
it depends on what side of the lake you're on. It felt like that, but they were exciting events, and I think we've got some opportunity for some cool things over there. But again, it goes back to it's got to make sense for everybody. Right. It's got to make sense for the racetracks over there, and it's got to make sense for our tour guys to make that trip over there.
Well, and in the fourth year, you end up at a track like LaSalle. And, you say LaSalle to anybody that knows anything about dirt track racing, they know what that track is about. And, we were told we put on one of the best shows, the drivers did, of the year by going there. And that's really exciting when you look at the caliber of racetrack that we visited.
Yeah, and that's definitely a high caliber racetrack. I mean, it was a privilege for us to be able to go there, and I think we put on a very good event. Strong show, but we go down the list of all of our races. We had some really good, strong shows throughout the whole year.
And I think probably, piggyback on this cool thing we're talking about, I look, and I noticed the fans and the race teams that showed up to these first-time racetracks that we went to. We're talking Attica, Montpelier, Wilmot, LaSalle, and Fremont would have been a nice show if Mother Nature didn't take over, if we hadn't lost that show. But the response you received from the American Ethanol Late Model Tour, from the officials at the racetracks and the fans, was unbelievable. I thought it was great.
Yeah, there's, I still believe year 4, and there's still something real special going on here. We met a lot of fans that traveled all the way to LaSalle, and all the way depending on where you're from, but yeah, those out of state. So race fans that followed the whole tour, regardless of where we went, is a pretty cool thing, and we had strong car count to back that up, and we had a strong purse to back that up. We were working on some stuff this year or this week, and prize money distributed at the racetrack between the two tours this year over $350,000.
Nothing to shake a stick at. Right. That's not a slouch number at all.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, another $60,000 at the banquet coming up in a couple
still
of months.
Still to come. Yep.
2019. I think the very first order of business is we probably should confirm one thing, because it's been a rumor mill all over Facebook. Both tours are coming back in 2019.
Yeah, that's the plan. We've done a lot of work for both tours, and based on our numbers on the modified tour, I think we're going to have a strong tour next year. It's going to require some travel, which I think is okay. I think that's a good thing. And talking to our race teams, I think we're on the same page there. And look how many, of our teams that went out and raced other races out of state, that when they weren't with us. So we anticipate a strong modified schedule next year, much stronger than this year, and that's our goal. We've already been working on it. We're going to continue to work hard on that. I would expect some more late model races too, a bigger late model schedule than what we had this year. So the tours are growing. They've been growing. The late models for 4 years, modifieds for 2 years, and year 5 for late models, year 3 for modifieds. I think are going to be, again, another big year.
If this audio is getting to a racetrack promoter or somebody that can make that kind of decision, how do they get on the tour's radar? How do they get 40 of the area's best at their racetrack on a Saturday or Friday night?
Well, definitely reach out to us, and we're going to continue to reach out to racetracks as well. But all of our contact information is on the website.
Okay.
I'd probably be the best one to talk to about scheduling. There's a few of us working on it, but email, website, it's all there. Both aeomt.com for late models, aemodt.com for modifieds.
You did that really well. I think better than Rich and I might have done it throughout the season. Scott, exciting stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to get this set up so that we can honor our drivers tonight. And of course, I think we'd all be remiss if we didn't say thank you for what you sacrifice to make sure the tours go on a weekly basis.
Yeah, well, thank you, and thanks for all your guys' hard work this year, and our entire team. There's a lot that goes into putting this stuff together, as you know, and thanks for Horsepower Happening and bringing the positive voice to motorsports in Michigan.
Oh, thanks so much. It was like you read my line off a piece of paper.
Can we just get him to work on the menu? Can we get him to work on that for 2019?
Got a pretty good selection in the command center.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. When we come back, 2018 American Ethanol Late Model Tour champion Brandon Thurlby joins us on the American Ethanol Tours Championship Show in the Horsepower Happening slot on Motorsports Broadcasting of Michigan.
Thank you for listening to the American Ethanol Tours Championship Show, brought to you live on the Motorsports Broadcasting of Michigan Network. Be sure to find Horsepower Happenings every Monday night at 7 p.m. and enjoy on-demand access of shows on SoundCloud.com/Motorsports Broadcasting of Michigan.